not yelling.
Damn, flaky.
Okay, Boomer.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How's it
How
going?
you doing? I'm good, man. Did you settle on a color? You like a color?
Yeah, I just went with white. Maybe the chat can help decide. I have these LEDs for some backlighting, for some mood lighting in the
I
little
like the
studio.
purple kind of. I'm not gonna lie.
You like the purple?
I like
Purple's
the
all right.
purple. It looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, purple's
Yeah.
okay.
I like that. I like
Makes
the
me
purple.
look a little sickly, but the background's cool.
Before anybody loses their mind, yes, Obsession will
Look
be
at-
here tonight. I promise.
Yes, I found
don't
out his
forget-
real name today.
Smash eBay.
Yeah, Smash eBay.
Don't forget to smash eBay.
I love eBay, man.
Oh, hi.
You're like a ooh.
She was trying to make it home by 6:30. She busts down the door at 6:31. She's like, I'm here.
You know
Okay.
that's already clipped and people are already working on memes
I'm sure.
already.
I'm sure.
Already.
So, Star Wars, man. God, I guess we're talking about that again.
I know.
Kind of a thing.
I almost said we get paid to do it, but we don't.
No, not at all. But
We just-
there's been I don't know. It's been kind of a slow week for news. You know, we got Bad Batch coming tonight, which is cool. I might stay up for it and watch it with Casual, actually, by the way.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it could be fun. Thank you,
Yeah.
Star Wars guys. I appreciate it. But well, I guess it's not fair to say it's been slow. I mean, it seems like Luke Skywalker has been absolutely everywhere this week.
Yeah, because there's the thing coming out, the like the gallery, right, or something, where it's like they show the behind the scenes and they're doing episode 16.
Yeah, August
But then-
25th.
But then there's apparently been a lot of talk about like more Luke than just the behind the scenes.
Yeah, so he was on the front page of StarWars.com,
Mm.
which I wasn't sure we were ever going to see again, which was super cool. I love to see
Yeah.
that. And he's also being featured in a comic coming up about X-Wing pilots.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a quantum shift in the narrative that's been going on at Lucasfilm. I mean, I know you're not a news guy, but I feel like that's kind of that's an important thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, because if we're honest, maybe some people like, Disney Luke, more power to him.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people who didn't like it. And for a lot of people, episode 16 of Mandalorian was huge and redemptive. It was like, even for us watching the original trilogy back, seeing him progress further and further into his lightsaber skills and being a Jedi, episode 16, man, he's tearing it up.
Yeah.
So if we get more of that in comics and even animation and stories, like, I'm all for it. That'd be cool.
And it was cool too the way they did that. There was a bunch of callbacks to Anakin's fighting style in the end of chapter 16. Most notably, the one I remember is when he put the saber behind his back and deflected the bolt back just like Anakin did on Mustafar when he was
Yeah.
killing all the separatists. I was like,
Yep.
hey, it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. You're like, hey,
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
how you doing, brother? Good to see you here.
There's some cool people in the chat.
Yeah, legit.
There's a lot of cool people, man.
Matt Rissman being one of them. He's super drunk right now, but we're really happy for him. He's at a REO Speedwagon concert, just having the time of his life.
Yeah, Matt, it's awesome. Why are you hanging out with us when you're at a concert? Is it still
Right.
the opening band or something?
No, he came into VC and was like blasting some REO Speedwagon in
Nice.
VC. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
it's definitely going on. Yeah, the Anakin callbacks were super cool. Did you know? So, like, when you were watching 16, did you know immediately that it was Luke when the X-wing came in?
I didn't. The missus did.
Yeah,
So she knew like right away. Because I mean, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way they're bringing Luke back.
yeah,
And so when I was seeing it, I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying to work through it in my mind, and I'm like, who is it? And it was the green lightsaber. And I'm like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
Like they actually did it. Like
So
yeah.
I like the second that X-wing flew in, I'm like, that's Red 5, and I started crying. I was
Man.
in I said this on one of Theory streams. I was in an attic like replacing like a heat pump, and I'm like, well, I have to watch it because I didn't stay up for it, and so it was the work day, and I stuck my phone there, and I'm replacing the heat pump working. I'm like, thank God nobody was there because I was 600 feet back in attic where nobody could see me, and I was just bawling my freaking eyes out watching it on a phone.
Man.
And then I tried to pretend like I hadn't watched it because Mrs. X-Wing hadn't seen it yet, but there was no way I was waiting to watch it. And so I watched it back, and I started bawling again. And then I was like, oh, maybe she thinks it's genuine because I'm definitely crying again.
That's awesome.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, man, the missus cried, and I think she like, I can't remember. I think she like jumped to her feet, and she was getting like wild, man.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. I remember going back and watching like a lot of the, they did a big compilation of a bunch of YouTubers that were watching it.
Okay.
And the X-Wing came by, and a lot of people were like, who is it? Who is it? And I'm like, that's Red 5. Like, I saw R2 in the back of that thing. That's Red 5. So that's when I lost it. And then, you know, a lot of people, what's funny is when it was still doing the security cameras, and you couldn't really tell who it was. That's when people were like, oh, it's Luke. And I'm like, how did you glean that from there? And then as soon as it cuts to the saber and you can see the hilt and you can see the glove, you're like, yeah, that's him. What?
That's interesting. Isn't the Mandalorian? I mean, Mandalorian has tons of fan service as it is, but I mean, calling the Luke reveal fan service, especially fan service, garbage.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There've been like,
sounds like a separatist.
I don't think I fully understand really what people mean when they say like fan service. So I guess when I think about it, what was that scene? I think it was Rogue One when Hondo Baba walks by with pig face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, meh. You know, like that wasn't 100% necessary. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people freaked out and were like, whoa, that's super cool. But for me, that was like, I don't know if that was totally necessary. But Luke Skywalker returning in like glorious fashion and taking down all those troopers was, I don't know if I call that garbage fan. You know what? That was probably just a troll.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Someone who says someone.
You know, I think and when we talk about fan service, I think what's hard is for some people they were kind of like on the edge with Star Wars, and so they needed fan service. They're like let me know you care about me. Like, was it Cobb Vanth? He's in like the like the pod racing engine. You know, he like redid it. I'm like, that's pretty cool, man.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was definitely
exactly,
another one
Justin.
that was like super. That was super like obvious. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for because, you know, maybe not everybody knows what his pod racer looks like, but I almost heard it before I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, he's riding Anakin's friggin' engine right now. And that was cool. That's a cool callback, you know, even the crate dragon in and of itself, you could call that fan service.
And I think there's there's like Easter eggs, and then there's like going into like deeper lore and stuff. But then obviously there's that fan service where you're like, well, that was a little unnecessary, and it's detracting. But episode 16 was anything but that.
Yeah, and you know, it speaks volumes as to what they were able to do because, I mean, look, it was everywhere. It's still everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke lightsabers, I can tell you this much, are selling more than I think they ever have because I've always got my thumb on the heartbeat for the saber community. And like, good luck getting a hero right now. It's real hard to get one.
Really?
You can buy ripoffs and stuff like that, but I mean, yeah, it's tough. Anakin pod racer thing is something that only true fans would even think to put in a show. Yeah, I don't even think I would have thought of that if I was writing that show. Just be like, well, what could he be riding? Like, do Anakin's engine.
Yeah, and I think that's so right, Justin, because if you're thinking about, okay, we're going to have this scene and this whole like arc on Tatooine, the thought that goes in behind like Cobb Vanth finding that or buying it from somebody, maybe like Jawas like turned it into that, and like the thought that went into that, because knowing that the real fans would analyze it and be like, how is that possible? Like, that's what made that show a lot of fun for me. I liked it.
And I mean, it's been, God knows how many years at that point, because I still can't do my timelines. Like, if somebody asked me, well, how many years is it since Anakin left Tatooine? I'm like, ugh. A bit. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
It's obviously been a while. What is the Mando's like 7 years after Empire?
Yeah, so it's like 40 years, maybe 40, 50 years, something like that.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
I mean, it's not out of the realm to think, that thing's been scrapped and somebody's using it as a speeder.
Mm-hmm.
Totally possible. And on Tatooine, man, the way they use stuff around there, I don't care what they call it as long as they respect Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewie. Truer words have never been said.
Mm-hmm.
Or typed. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he said like this time instead of eBay.
Man, he's happy, man. Look at all those exclamation points.
Smash eBay, everybody. If you're here right now,
eBay.
smash that eBay.
Smash that eBay.
I ordered a Corbanth Luke Saber the morning after I watched the finale. Yeah, that was probably a really good choice because I don't even know. I mean, I don't really deal with Corbanth a lot. I don't know much about them. I know they're very reputable, but good, man. Well, I hope you're having fun with it.
I don't know if you'd want to, because stuff's kind of hard on stream to know what gets flagged and stuff. But there's a deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith. It's like a concept scene, and it's actually pretty cool.
I find those hard to watch sometimes. Yeah, I'm super down to watch it. I find those hard to watch sometimes just because those movies were so green screen. Is this a super green screen moment?
No, it's like it's almost like they used like models in place of Obi-Wan and Grievous, and so it was like it was originally how they wanted the scene to go.
I got you.
If you want it, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, run it.
Cool. Do you want me to send it to you, or do you just want me to share?
No, just run it. Yeah, go crazy.
Okay.
I'll pop you in.
Stall for me while I do my digging.
Stalling.
Oh wow. That was like a whole lot of nose hair.
That was a dental checkup on that one.
Oh god. He's like getting ready before the show and he pulled in.
Twirling his mustache. He's been working like crazy, man.
Really?
Here we go. My favorite behind the scenes scene is John and Dave just nerding about the lore. Yeah, honestly, I kind of feel the same way. When I look at John and Dave talking about Star Wars, you feel like you're in good hands. Every time I've heard Kathleen talk about it, I'm like, this is not going to go the way you think. I just don't feel the passion so much from that camp. All right, let's get this going, huh?
So 2 minutes, Kenobi, Grievous, alternate fight.
Ooh. Oh man, that was like a real enemy at the gates kind of moment there. Oh no. Physically ripping his heart out.
Oh, just you wait, buddy.
I can see why they didn't use this.
Oh.
That's pretty dark.
Oh my gosh.
He just like office spaced his interiors.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you think?
Wow. Yeah. So I think I would have been down with that, man.
I don't think it really fits, but I think it's awesome that he like rips his heart out and or I don't know what he rips out, but he that was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. I would have been down for it. I think, it's always tough when you look at things in previs like that and you try to imagine it, just because that was like, I love the scene where it's behind him and he's just like throwing the parts behind him and just like rips a brain out of his chest and shoots it. Ugh.
That's crazy, huh?
So uncivilized.
I'm gonna talk about uncivilized.
Yeah.
Hi, Obsession. How you doing? Welcome to the stream.
What's up, guys?
We missed you, man.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Working.
Your cam looks nice.
What's that?
Your cam looks nice.
Yeah, I'm starting to
got
get the
Pink and blue.
Is that looks like it? Looks like pink. Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, it's red. It's red and blue. Don't listen to him. He's been working on his OnlyFans. He needs to keep it positive right now.
Okay.
Great content, by the way. Great content.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever tickles you. That's cool. How about that? Is that better?
No.
So we were kind of talking about the effect of Mando Chapter 16 and Luke coming back and everything that's been in the news this week, with Luke being on the front page of StarWars.com, and kind of a shift, it feels like, in Star Wars. I could be crazy, but
it's almost like somebody has been saying this shit for months.
Almost. For years.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like Kathleen is taking her.
No, let's not do that.
Her office job and doing the indie stuff and making the Bobs happy and making them money and making the stockholders money, and she is staying out of story.
Is it enough to save Kathleen?
No, it's.
Is it
I mean,
enough?
it's not. It's not about saving her. It's she's stepped away. She's not gonna do this stuff. She's not gonna be involved in story in Star Wars anymore. I mean, that's what I've been saying. Everybody's freaking out because she's still there and she's still CEO. And it's like, yeah, but if you look at what a CEO does, their job is to make the stockholders money.
Yeah, and they're not writing stories.
No, she's got no time for that stuff. She's busy trying to, approve billboards and posters and, budgets and all that shit. She's not worried about. She's got no time for it right now, and that's why Dave got the big promotion.
So what about like the kind of the shift? I guess that's more what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. It's all this. It's all the same. It's all the same package. Dave's in charge, and who wants to see Luke back more than Dave? Right? Dave and John. They want to see Luke Skywalker. They want to see this Mandalorian is their vision. Both seasons. The first season probably more Favreau because he was, kind of created that, but they worked together. And this season it's the both of them. I mean, they both directed episodes. Dave got to write Ahsoka's live action and direct it. I think the shift is what I've been saying is coming, and everybody's giving me all this shade because they're like, no, it's going to be awful. It's not going to be good. And it's like, well, how about you just wait and see what Dave and John put out, because it's all the same.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn for sure.
But it's the burn in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people is like the direction is there because there's a leader. You had a woman who is a great businesswoman, but when it comes to leading a story team over an arc of stories, not Indiana Jones, a one-time movie, and then another Indiana Jones 10 to 15 years later, right? We're talking about a Marvel level universe that she and her team could not handle. Right. So she came in, and her and Pablo wrote awful stories and made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, and made the entire Star Wars community go, these movies are going to suck. So now everybody's like, oh my God, all this Luke Skywalker hype is here. And it's like, yeah, that's because Dave and John wrote an amazing season finale and are giving us the connective tissue from Luke of End of Mandalorian to Luke on Octu. They're going to feed us this. They're going to make us feel for Luke when he's kneeling next to R2 watching all of his students dead and his entire Jedi Order that he built completely torn down and burning. Right? That Dave and John are going to make you feel that over the course of the next 5 years.
As Star Wars rises to insane popularity and we get all these new people coming in who want to enjoy it. I can't tell you how many people I've seen walking around with a Grogu backpack, and I'm like, have you ever actually watched a Star Wars movie? They're like, no, but Mando's legit, my guy.
Well, but that's just it. This story, because of where it was, right? You had the movies. The movies came in. The movies come in the 70s and 80s, and then we get a rebirth in the 2000s, and then we get another rebirth in the 2010s. So there wasn't, it wasn't kind of hip as it is now to be a Star Wars person. But all of a sudden, Disney introduces a platform where people can watch from home during a pandemic where you cannot leave the house. And everybody was like, I'll give this Mandalorian thing a try. Let's try it out. And they were like, whoa, this is awesome. And they're figuring it out, man. And I think it's great because they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to understand why we are so sweaty about this shit, why we lose our minds when Luke Skywalker, I was listening to you guys before I popped in. I was eating dinner before I jumped in. But why Luke Skywalker's return was such a big deal, right? These people are going to start to understand because now they're like, well, who's this Ahsoka character? And then they're going to start Googling. They're going to be like, wait a minute. There's like 150 hours of this stuff in animation. So I think it's because of the platform. Disney Plus gave everybody the opportunity to dip a toe into Star Wars. I mean, what did I read the other day? Clone Wars has had more watches in the last 12 months than over the course of the entire run on Nickelodeon or whatever it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, crazy.
It's bananas, but it's not, because now there's a platform they can just go play. They don't have to rent a movie or buy a movie. They just play.
I know for me, I kind of have two thoughts on this. I think if we're looking at Star Wars as a whole, one thing that's difficult. So George was obviously, merchandising has always been in the forefront of Star Wars. And I think when it was under the tutelage of George, what was a little different is Star Wars was first and the merchandising followed to support the future endeavors of Star Wars. My personal opinion now, it feels like the merchandising is more forward, like how many ridiculous Star Wars items there are, and I feel like the content hasn't been following. There's still good content, but I feel like from the business side of things, I feel like we don't need Sasquatch Star Wars soap. We don't need like Aaron Condren Star Wars journals. Cool, this stuff's nice, but it's like literally Star Wars is printed on everything, and I feel like the hype just isn't there behind it.
Yeah, and it'll get there, I think. I mean, Obsession always says that, this year has been the year of Marvel, next year is going to be the year of Star Wars. I totally agree. I think after Book of Boba Fett, we're going to see a massive shift in the Star Wars fandom, and not so much from the sweaties, I think, although I do think they're going to make some awesome stuff. If Book of Boba Fett is going to be a lot darker and it's going to deal with a lot more, I don't know if you want to call it like adult issues, but it's going to appeal to the older crowd. I think it's definitely going to draw a lot of us back in a little bit, if I dare to say. I mean, Mando really got our foot back in the door where we're like, damn, somebody knows what they're doing. Okay, I'm listening. Book of Boba Fett's going to be the one to get us to actually walk into the room. And then, as we move into Ahsoka, that's when we really, I never left the fandom. Let's be honest here. Look behind me. I never left. I haven't gone anywhere. I've been a little partial when it comes to my feelings towards it. Like, I I want to support the people who care about Star Wars that are working on Star Wars. And I know even in the sequel trilogy and stuff like that, there are still people there who were big, sweaty Star Wars nerds that probably fought really hard to give us the stuff that we wanted, but were just shut down.
Well, let me ask you a question about this. So, if we're going back to episode 16 of Mandalorian, I know a big cause of contention, if you will, was the people who liked Luke, myself included, felt like that was the trajectory that made sense for Luke. That is post Return of the Jedi Luke. That is truly Mr. Skywalker. But then you get to the events of the sequels, and in particular, there's the whole thing with, okay, well, Grogu is now in the picture. How does he fit in? And how do we get from episode 16 to him trying to kill his nephew in the middle of the night? And I know we don't need to like necessarily debate that particular part
Right.
of Luke's timeline, but more overarching, I think a lot of people, at least, you know, people who are making videos and content about it, have said it feels like there's two Lukes, and they don't know if they're going to bridge.
Jake.
Because I don't think, me personally, and, you know, if we end up talking about, you know, Luke Skywalker and all this, the sequel treatment for Luke, I think, was a misstep, in my personal opinion.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah,
hey, look, Mark Hamill said it himself.
I mean,
It
that's
was so amazing to see me when I was still a beacon of hope.
But at the same time, that's what I think Dave and John have a plan to rectify the situation. And I think Grogu is a big part of it. If Grogu dies at the hands of Ren, why excuse me, why wouldn't a over 15-year relationship with Grogu, who's probably one of the masters or about, you know, one of the knights in Luke's order, and Ren and his lovable band of misfits come in and wreck the place, and he sees Grogu dead on the floor, you don't think that breaks a man's spirit? Even the mighty Luke Skywalker?
Dude, if the Knights of Ren are able to kill Grogu, like what happened in the Rise of Skywalker when Ben literally just like handed him their pink slips in 5 seconds with a lightsaber?
Well, but that's what I'm saying is, like, if he takes Luke down in the middle of the night, right, the way that they illustrate it, and then they systematically go through while everybody's asleep and just start slashing people while they're sleeping. Maybe some people wake up, but they're a bunch of untrained against the lineage of Ben Solo and his lovable band of misfits. And who knows if we get a Snoke sighting in that kind of scene. We don't really know the timeline. But my point is, when you wake up and all of your pupils are dead at the hands of the nephew who was supposed to be your prodigy, that doesn't break your spirit? That doesn't make you feel like, man, I messed up twice, right? Like, I messed up. And this isn't the first time I've messed up. I messed up, you know, a couple times as I left Dagobah. I went to Bespin, right? These are mistakes. He came out of them okay, but they were still mistakes. And then this one, and then all of your pupils and your right-hand dude that you know, helped get to the point where maybe could talk. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a breaking point. Everybody's got a breaking point.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm not buying it.
I think that's what they could show us. I think that's how Dave and Jon Favreau and with the help of George Lucas could fix the Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams debacle.
So I mean, I appreciate like the thought you've put into it, and as opposed to like trying to break down like the thoughts and opinion, like particularly on like lore of sequel trilogy and trying to make it fit. I would want to ask this question: would you rather see, let's just say John and Dave, right? Mm-hmm. Would you want to see them try and retcon, so to speak, the sequel trilogy and make it linear, or would you rather have them just kind of be like, I'm not saying erase it, but would you rather them be like, okay, we're going to make some things make sense, and there may be time gaps where it's not connected, but we're going to go a little bit wider, and we're going to kind of go around the sequel, almost like leave it on an island and
that's totally my thought. I don't see how John and Dave's universe matches up with the sequel trilogy, and I feel like as soon as they start connecting, if they do, it's going to turn fans off because they're like, no, we were heading in the right direction. So it's almost like when you see the bully in the hall, you're like, I'm just not going to look at him. I don't even want to recognize that he's there.
Who knows who knows the content better? The apprentice of George Lucas or the fans? I mean, let's be real, right? I love what you're saying, but at this point, fuck the fans, right? And that's how I say for Filoni. Like, listen, I'm trying to fix this for you guys, right? Like, that's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to fix this because they're irritated with it as well as fans, just like we are. Why do you think Luke came in and had this amazing moment? Because they didn't get that. They're fans. So when you talk about fan service, they're servicing themselves, right? And if you can't redo the sequels, Harrison Ford can't go through another Star Wars movie.
I mean, we could.
Carrie Fisher's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you going to do? You can't have any of the original characters back. What are you going to retcon?
What if they leave it like as is and they move into like let's just say, for instance, right? Let's say season 3 of Mando deals exclusively with the Mandalore. Let's say Book of Boba deals with a lot of stuff we want to know about Boba, and you get Boba and Fennec doing their thing.
Bounty hunters and the Hutt cartel and stuff like that.
War of the Bounty Hunters, right? And you have Bad Batch inevitably going to another animated. You have Ahsoka dealing with all the stuff we need to see about her. And essentially, if they use like you've been talking, you know, and I always appreciate discourse because you and I don't see eye to eye on everything Star Wars, but that's okay because we talk through it. But what if they do all of this stuff, like you said, laying groundwork, and then they use that to shoot into different areas of Star Wars, and hopefully just like leave the sequels as be and be like, okay, we'll give you little pieces, but we're not going to have it try and make sense, you know? Like, I wonder if that's a direction.
I think C4C just brought up like possibly the worst scenario, which is one we haven't even explored yet, which is a reboot and recast. Like, that's not even in my brain. And I think if they were brash enough to do that, I mean, you got me on film here. I'm gonna burn that bee to the ground.
If you want recons, if you want this retconned, if you want this sequel eliminated, that's their avenue. Carrie's dead, man. You can't use a single Leia thing, right? Yeah, you could CG it. That would suck, right? She's dead, man. Harrison Ford's 1 foot in. He can barely walk.
You're dark tonight.
No, dude, I'm just being honest because
15 hours does not look good on you.
No, look, man, it's no, they can't do that. No, they can't do that. Look, man, I really think they're trying to fix things. I really genuinely think that these two men are trying to get us to that point with a good enough explanation to satisfy all parties because they're fans more than us, right? Dave Filoni is a bigger fan than the three of us and Mrs. Star Wars nerds combined, right? He is the apprentice of George Lucas, right? And he wanted to be that well before he got that job. So, I mean, I really got to, I keep saying it. I hold my hope in Dave and John. That's it.
I feel like I have more hope for John than I do for, I don't know. It's kind of like, which is, I feel like it's both though, right? I need the writing of John with the knowledge and the passion of Dave.
But that's exactly what's happening. That's why people are so sassy. Jon Favreau said, somebody told Jon Favreau, you can't make a good Christmas movie. Okay, hold my beer. I'm gonna go make Elf.
Yeah,
One
there's
of
a
the
lot
best
of great
Christmas
stuff.
movies ever, right? And then
No,
they
he's
tell
made a lot of good stuff.
you can't fix Marvel. Watch me. They told him you can't fix Star Wars. Watch.
Well, what about this though? What about as opposed to? I think people's big issues are twofold, like particularly with the sequels. And I'm not saying like get rid of it. I'm more so saying leave it alone in terms of the missteps with the OT characters, with the originals. Like I would say if like make Rey awesome, build off of Rey. Build off of Finn, build off of Poe. Like, there's so much there that I just felt was, I don't know. There's just a lot more potential, and it's like
So
I
you're
think
thinking like sequel trilogy, and then like this universe just kind of goes like this, and then maybe we meet up with them later, and then it branches off.
if this is sequel trilogy, right? If we're gonna be doing the arm thing, and there's this gap right now, right? This is everything we know. Here's that gap. I feel like are they gonna try and do this and connect it, or are they just gonna like just all over? We're getting away from Skywalker saga. By the way, look at this. I don't know if there's my airsofting.
Oh yeah, dude, that stuff's no joke.
You got wrecked.
But I would say I'm a little more afraid of this connection because it has to be too AT perfect, and I don't know if that can happen. But it's like, what if instead, we get a little bit of this and we're like, okay, and that mystery is there. People, if they want to, they can fill it in. If people don't care, they leave it alone, and then just everything, just new Star Wars. New direction, leave the old people alone. Like, let's do what George did and start going in some new directions.
Can you do that can you do a sequel without Luke Skywalker?
I'm not even saying sequel. I'm saying just new.
Well, I mean, they are doing new. They're doing Andor, right?
Yeah.
They're doing Ahsoka.
Yep.
They're doing new, right? They're already
for that.
They're doing Book of Boba. They're doing Mando, brand new. They're doing Ahsoka, extension of old. They're doing Andor, brand new. They were going to do Rangers, brand new, but that got boxed, right? They've got all of these things that are brand new, and they're doing exactly what you want, right? They're giving you brand new stuff. But I also feel like they're gonna connect the tissue, and the tissue is going to be amazing, right? All of it. And I think that at the end of it, hopefully in 5 years, when all this stuff is said and done and out, we are going to sit here and discuss how awesomely right I was.
I just feel like you may be totally right. And look, if it is awesome and killer, then I will applaud you. I will be very happy for that. I feel like as soon as this new stuff that's making me feel like I'm reattached to Star Wars and invested in the things that are going on, as soon as it touches the sequels again, like he did with his beautiful diagram, the second it touches there, I'm turned off immediately. I'm turned off to it.
You're turned off to General Leia Organa. You're turned off to the adventures of Chewie and Han in their entire.
How are you going to do that? Like you just said, she's dead.
I agree. I don't think you can, but you're telling me that the story between they could animate it. They could animate Han and Chewie's adventures in a fun way, right? Harrison Ford does some VO, and then you got a little bit of old.
I think I'm just really looking for like some good live action Star Wars. We get a lot of animated content, and I think I just want some really good live action Star Wars, and I want it to not be tied to the sequels and just
You're about to get
a new story.
13 months straight of it.
What I feel like I hear though is it's less. I'm just gonna keep using my arms, right? I feel like this is high tech right here.
Oh,
Watch
misses.
this.
Hold on.
I feel like it's less of this that is the problem. That connection. I feel like it's this because I feel like X-Wing. You're saying you're cool with a good connection, but then it doesn't make sense. Like I feel like there's always. I feel like you can make it,
and it makes sense.
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, I think it still sucks.
The problem is the thing that happened. It's not how they connect it.
So scarred by what they did that anything they do to fix it is moot.
I'm not
So-
scarred. I just didn't like it.
I know, but are you so do you dislike it so much that if they fixed it in an awesome way, you would still dislike the way that they made it come
So
together?
that's where it for me it's like,
Possibly.
is it possible that they could do that? Yes, I don't see any feasible way where they can make me be like, wow, now that all makes sense. It just doesn't.
I believe in them. I believe in them. I don't think you would have.
No, I believe in them and their storytelling ability 100%. And they could, that's what I'm saying, is they could give their all and do something 100% that's absolutely revolutionary and amazing and insane. And I would still hate the fact that it ties to the sequel trilogy.
Wow.
Oh, I know why you wanted that comment up now.
Yeah, I was.
I know
trying-
why.
I was trying to show it. I just can't.
I know why.
I missed it.
I'm trying to find it.
No, it's still up. The one you have pulled up.
No, don't leave
I
the
wanted
one
to know
pulled
that.
up. I'm trying.
Oh,
to,
okay.
I'm
It
trying to
says,
find-
I won't spoil it for him. If you've watched his streams.
Oh,
it
the
showed
the
up.
stuff that's coming.
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I know that, Dodo.
But yeah, I really feel like it's come a time where
Here's a comment to trigger obsession.
which one?
The last one he had. About cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
No more getting bailed out by cartoons.
But it's not. I mean, I guess it's the disappointing part is it's not. I mean, there's only so many stories we can tell live action, and I know everybody's got a super big like uber geek boner for the live action stuff because they gave us a live action show and it was freaking awesome. But like, they can't do every show live action.
Yeah, I like animated.
You can't do Bad Batch live action. Tamora can't play 4 characters at once with makeup. Right?
What?
You can't. There's certain stories you can't.
You're
do.
just being negative.
Yeah, I am. But there's just certain things you can and can't do with what we've got going on, and to tell. Like, I would love to know where exactly Han and Chewie were after he left Leia.
Oop, bad word.
Right? How'd you lose the Falcon? Right?
Yeah.
Who'd you lose it to? Who stole it? You know, how long have you been looking to get it back? Did you meet up with homegirl from Solo? I can't think of her name because I'm fried.
Kira?
Yeah. Did you meet up with her? Did like what happened? You know, did you? There's so many questions in that storyline alone that they could totally have fun with in an animated way, right? And yeah, the cartoons are not as great as live action, but we can't put Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon again. He may roll another ankle.
Speaking of which,
Dude.
apparently he's not coming back to filming, and they just cast Antonio Banderas
As Indy?
as somebody.
What?
We're gonna get a lot of
Crazy.
rewrites. Yeah, Antonio Banderas is coming in. So
For Han as Han
For-
Solo?
How can I say something and proposition something?
Yeah.
Can I make one final comment on the sequels? And we'll move on.
As many as you want.
And then we move on away from that. So, and in particular, why Obsession, your question, where I answered possibly, even if they had a good story, I may not like it. If I'm just going to pick one character in particular, if I'm going to look at Han Solo, and you look at him from A New Hope to Return as a Jedi, and I'm on this journey right now of reading the EU for myself, but knowing in the EU he became a dad, and smugglers came to him and were like, "Hey, basically, why don't you still do this?" And he's like, "I'm a family man now." You know, like his life was totally different. For me, an issue is I feel like to get him back to where he was, living separate from Leia, and the way he treated his son, and we could talk about all sorts of stuff, but for me in particular, that I'm just in a camp of it. Just because it's Star Wars doesn't mean I have to like it,
Right.
and that for me, it's one part of the story I don't like. I'm not gonna think differently of people if they do like it, but for me,
Sure.
if John and Dave knocked on the door of my apartment and were like, "Hey, Mr. 2 Star Wars nerds, with your 200 subscribers, we want you to decide the direction and fate for all Star Wars." I would say just leave that alone and go in a new direction. Act like
Yeah.
it didn't happen. Just don't try and connect it for me. Go somewhere else. Because for me, I just don't see the connection. And if there was one, I feel like it's just a weak chain. And so that's kind of the camp I'm in.
I just
And the
feel
thing,
like
too, I agree. We should do that, but we know they're not going to because we're getting Ahsoka.
I don't want to see Ahsoka meet Luke either. I know everybody's got a huge hard on for that. I don't,
Yeah.
because in one of the
I'll be right
books, I don't remember which one of the books, it said, "Oh, Ahsoka Tano, my father's apprentice." Right? It was like he had never met her. Right? And I think, if that was the way that they had written it for Luke, to never have met her, because she may be dead by that time. We don't really know. Right? I mean, she could die. We don't know when her end is coming. So it's, I don't want to see those two hook up, because either she has to die when she's around him, or it just sets up a bunch of weird shit for me. Okay, real quick. Nope, I don't want to do that. So this is, for those of you who haven't seen, since the missus said she wanted to see, that is our Prince Luke of Alderaan, and that is my lightsaber Leia.
That's cool.
So these are going to be, I'm going to end up putting these on some merch here pretty soon. I've already gotten started. But
Dude,
yeah,
that full on, I wish there's a way where you could like license a children's book with those animations.
oh, I know, right?
That looks great.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with what he did, and how it came out. So yeah, we're gonna, and I'm kind of, so I can leave it in my Discord. If you guys want to help me out, cool. Basically, I can't think of what to title the twins shirt. Like, I know I'm gonna do like lightsaber Leia on the in nice white letters, and then the same thing for Luke. Prince Luke of Alderaan. That's no big deal. But I've been racking my brain on how to title the twins, the two of them together. So I don't want to just like stack the names on top of each other. I'd kind of like to give them their own
Twisted Timeline Twins.
Yeah, something like that, man. Did you see it? I
Triple
think
T.
X-Wing has seen this already, but we'll do it anyway. So there. So that's the lightsaber Leia. And then that is Prince Luke of Alderaan. And then that's the two of them together.
That's adorable.
Yeah. So I can't think of what to call the twins. It's been driving me crazy. Hope twins. I kind of like that. So yeah. So that's the stuff that I'm trying to do. I'm going to end up getting the samples probably this week.
Cool.
Can't find the shirts.
Make some stickers.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some stickers. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of stuff. I want some of that in my life. I need some of that fun stuff in my life. Old Star Wars nerd was mentioned, and he wants to see Ahsoka and Obi-Wan talk. I would like that. I would like that as a Force Ghost Kenobi. I don't think I would want to see him talk to her living.
I was like, did the stream end or something? That was like the most silence I've ever heard between us.
Just trying to figure that out. I mean,
oh, that was funny.
Ahsoka would have to be alive. Yeah. I don't know.
I would say, like, if that meeting is going to happen, it's got to be like when Ahsoka's dying and he teaches her how to transition into the Force. I don't like it in live action. I don't like it in anything coming up. If they talk, it gives away a big piece of the pie. I don't even think Ahsoka is supposed to know Kenobi is still alive.
I don't know if they're gonna do that, because like when I'm thinking about Bad Batch, just isolating Bad Batch, right? You have so many threads, and granted the series isn't done, but there's so many threads that are brought up where it's like, I don't think they're going to answer everything. I think part of the charm of Filoni is that he brings up questions and he doesn't fully answer them. He leaves loose threads so
Just like
that
George.
one of two things happens. He can come back to it, or he just lets fans be fans and run with it. So I think something that big, I don't know if he would give us that.
I mean,
At least right away. I don't think with like Kenobi and Ahsoka, I feel like if it's coming, it would be wow.
I mean, he gives us some stuff. He doesn't hide it all. I mean, he gave us that article. I can't remember who wrote the article, but when they were talking about why Ahsoka's lightsabers were blue instead of green,
Right.
when Anakin gave them back, he explained that. He explained why they were unique and all of that stuff. So I feel like he does give us some stuff and the answers to some questions. I just feel like Ahsoka never. If Ahsoka knew where Kenobi was, why wouldn't she go and want to be around him? She was
Maybe
just.
she doesn't know where he's at.
I don't think she can know where he's at.
Right.
So what?
I
He
think
comes.
that-
He comes to find her in the Kenobi show.
No, well, yeah, you never know. Maybe, dude, it could be a total plot convenience.
I
right?
think.
I mean, we're talking about Inquisitors.
A presence I have not felt since
Oh,
Yeah.
I Stimp Kenobi'd on the Venator.
I think what we're running into, we're rewatching the Clone Wars right now, is obviously Anakin and Grievous never met in person prior to Episode 3, and
Right.
that's with the whole "oh, you're taller than I expected" comment.
And they had to write a lot of stuff in the Clone Wars.
And especially in the beginning, it's this like, oh, how are they going to do it? Nope, they don't meet, right? And it just keeps happening. And I think with Ahsoka not being an original thought by George, and that doesn't like discredit or belittle anything. I love Ahsoka. But with that, Dave has the unique opportunity to like write her around everything.
Right.
And I feel like with Ahsoka in particular, that connection maybe opens the door to a lot of like questions and a lot of like, oh, we're starting to get into territory that won't make any sense. And so I agree that I don't think they'll meet live action. I think, like you said, if anything, it's like the transition piece.
Whoa, bro. Come on. We don't need to use that kind of language. I think we all have significant others right now. It doesn't matter who they are.
I have a wife.
I like tacos.
It's an interesting question, though. I mean, what are on the universe being too small? I think, for me, it's really more of that certain things happen on certain planets. That's kind of how it's always been. And there are major centers to each planet. And so, yeah, no, I can't really walk it back. I mean, look, Star Wars is full of plot conveniences. It's just kind of how the universe works. But we just accept it and we love it because it's a good story. Most of the time.
My thought with Star Wars, like when you're watching it and like you're getting a glimpse into like the most elite of the galaxy and the most elite of the universe, and in particular what interested George the most. And so while to us it's huge, we're like, wow, this is really cool. I think part of the allure of it being so small, like, wow, we've just looked at Skywalker saga, and we've just looked at this closely connected stuff that all comes back to Anakin and Luke. Part of what excites me is like there's so much more out there. So it's like if we've gotten all this awesome content from this little window, like what happens when we step outside of that? And
Thrawn, the unknown regions, everything that happens there. Yeah, like bounty hunters. Yeah, there's so much to look at.
And granted, there is the EU, and that's part of why I'm like wanting to really get into it. But moving forward for new content, like I think there needs to be big risk, because the EU was a risk. Like, what if people didn't like this stuff? And I think, I don't know if it's because there were some people who just got really upset and they lost money and people were getting turned off and they had to make reasonings for it, like Star Wars fatigue and stuff. But it's like, let's get into that area of like Dave and John are doing. Take a risk, try something new, and you can get some amazing stuff outside of the window we've had for 44 years.
100%.
I just feel like they're going to, like, if they introduce Luke Skywalker, there's only two choices, right? They gave themselves two paths to take. That's it. There's no other way to do it. Either you make half the fans happy, or you make the other half happy. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's 50-50 though.
Doesn't matter how you slice the pie. It's still one camp gets this, one camp gets that, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's no happy ending because, like, you know, like you guys are saying, you're not going to be happy if they link it together. You're not going to be happy even if they do it right and really, 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 really write it perfectly. Half of the fandom, more, 2/3 of the fandom is still going to be turned off.
Yeah.
Right. So either way, by introducing Luke Skywalker, they gave you guys and me something amazing that we wanted to see. But at the same time, they hamstring themselves.
Yeah.
Because either you write Luke to become Luke on Ahch-To, or you write Luke to be different, and you turn off half of the other third of the fandom that, you know, by retconning or outright
this
avoiding.
Is crazy. Why don't we just hear more about Luke's stories when he was EU Luke as opposed to Disney Luke? I mean, there is a lot of time in between that young golden-haired boy stamped down the door and killed all those troopers to him on Ahch-To, or even him to, you know, where the temple gets assaulted. Right. There's a lot of time there.
But how do you write that? Because
you write it exactly the way that they did.
You can't write it like episode 7, 8, and 9 and not go in with a path. That's what left them high and dry to begin with. So
There's
have to
so many adventures in between there. They could explore those adventures and just not even get to the point where that happens.
But I guess that, again, that's turning off a portion of the fandom, because I don't want it that way. I want connective tissue. I want explanations. I don't mind Luke on Ahch-To. I don't mind Luke doing what the Emperor did and not having enough power to sustain it, because the Emperor had a different vein of force energy to tap into, right? The reason Luke died at the end of those movies is because he did the same thing the Emperor did and used the last of his ability. He just wasn't strong enough to sustain it and live, right? So I want that connective tissue because I want to see Luke break. If you're going to have the strongest character in the universe break, I want to see how he breaks, because that's the kind of Star Wars I like. I like I get that. I like to see how you broke, right? I liked, if you're going to break and not go to the dark side, what made you just give it all up? Because you went 19 years without it, and then you went, let's call it 40 years, 50 years. Well, let's just be generous. Let's say end of Empire. Let's say you went 25, 30 years without it. What makes you give up something?
Wasn't that the point of the sequels, though?
What's that?
That everything you just said, like that was what they were supposed to do with the sequels.
But if you're going to give me connective tissue and explain it, I want to see it, because I want to see Luke break. I want to see him on his knees next to R2 with his metal hand on R2 and know how that happened, because I feel like that moment for me was amazing. Right?
You making fun of me right now? Chase?
No,
not you, Obsession, not you.
I was like, come on, girl.
No, I was
back in my day. Luke was a hero. Today's kids will never understand.
Right? Yeah, I mean, Luke is a hero, but all heroes fail sometimes. Failure is our greatest teacher, and Luke forgot that, and that's one of the things I don't want erased. I don't want that Yoda scene erased. That is such a powerful moment, and what a better teaching tool to show the next generation that failure is okay. It's okay to fall down. It's okay. Get back up and dust your knees off, even if it takes you a little while to find your way. Right? What a better lesson. That's Star Wars to me, because the lessons I take through life, fear, anger, hate, suffering, those are things I've known in life.
Right.
Right? And no one ever told me in life it was okay to fail. No one ever told me failure was going to be my best teacher.
Didn't you get that with Anakin though?
No,
with like Anakin failing and Vader's redemption.
No, I didn't. I didn't feel it like that. The way that Yoda explains it.
You didn't connect with it.
No, I mean I connected with it, but
I mean like that. You're because I know that quote in particular is your favorite. So you're saying
from the sequels,
that was your that meant a lot to you.
I think that's a very powerful lesson that you don't. Look, I just turned 40 not too long this year, and a lot of my perspective over the last couple years has changed. And with age comes wisdom, right? And you don't realize that failure and messing up and those agonizing feelings that you're taking a shower and you're like, oh, I can't believe that happened. And I have moments like that today. I'll be doing something and I'll just think, oh my God, that moment, it still haunts me. Right. But without that moment, I don't get better. Right. Without that moment, I don't succeed. So to fail is a lesson I don't feel like they taught us in the original trilogy. Right. Yeah. Maybe a little Luke, made mistakes and he made his way back. Fine. But not really with Vader. I didn't really feel that.
No, man. There's that whole scene as X-Wing.
Where?
Empire.
Well, okay.
Where because he's trying to get the X-Wing and he leaves. He ignores the wisdom and counsel of Yoda and Obi and goes and gets sliced and diced.
But I felt that with Luke. I didn't feel that with Vader until I watched the prequels.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then it's a different story. But growing up, I didn't learn that failure was okay. Right? I didn't learn that no one ever said to me as growing up ever, failure will teach you everything you really need to know.
And that's the one part of the sequel trilogy. If there was one part out of any of it that I do love, even though Yoda looked weird as hell in that
CG,
one scene,
man.
he looks so. No, he was puppet.
Puppeteered. We were so used to seeing him CG'd after the original episode 1, right? Because they went to CG 2 and 3.
Yeah, but
they redid. They did the puppet in 1, and then they went back to CG.
Right. So I feel like
that moment for me, that felt like the most Star Warsy. And
I have a question.
What's up?
So, if because let me clarify this obsession. Maybe it goes without saying. If you like not if you like the fact that you do like aspects that I don't like hopefully you understand. It's not a belittling or anything like that.
I don't take it like that at all.
Cool. I just want to make sure that's
this
clear.
is a place for discourse.
There's one thing that age has slowly and painfully taught me is that ego is the toughest thing to shed, and you feel so complete once you've shed it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
For sure.
I'm an egomaniac, dude. So that's a hard lesson for me to learn. Right? And this is so yeah, go on, please. I got distracted.
Yeah, no. So my question is, if we're thinking about, like, if I'm going to objectively look at the sequels in particular, and we're talking about, I understand what you're saying about connective tissue, and you in particular, among many others, want that connection because you like all of Star Wars, and that includes the sequel trilogy. You want all of it connected. Well, I'll speak for myself. Maybe X-Wing kind of falls into this category. I'm not a fan of the sequels, and so I don't really care for that connective piece. I'm okay without it. But with that, when we're talking about failure, I can see your point, but what's hard for me is the contrast of, I feel like Rey in particular, they made it so she doesn't fail. I feel like, and obviously this isn't like a deep analysis of her character. I feel like if you're looking at someone like Luke and trying to step into your shoes for a moment, episode 4 Luke to episode 8 Luke, if you're like, here's this whole arc of his life, Anakin 1 to 6, you have this whole arc of his life.
Right.
I feel like 7 to 9 Rey, there isn't an arc. It's here. It's firing high on all cylinders all the time. And what doesn't make sense is like, why do some characters get this kind of a treatment and then some get this, and this is a very controversial treatment, and then this just kind of seems like stuff is just kind of handed to her. But then you have characters like Finn and Poe who didn't, like, they had a lot of potential. I was so excited for Finn, and then stuff was just kind of flopped. And you have Rose, where I feel like the decisions with Rose didn't make sense. Like, for me, that's where I'm like, as a whole, the sequels, I'm like, it just doesn't connect with me.
You're getting into studio decisions at that point. That's not storytelling. I think that was...
with Finn, I agree with you with Finn. I would much rather have seen a Force-sensitive Finn.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I totally agree with you. Rey, I understand what they were trying to storytell with Rey. Unfortunately, so the first movie comes out, and the missus and I are watching it together, and she is not even like X-Wing says, the missus don't give a shit about my Sam Witwer the birthday wish. She don't give a shit. My better half would pretend to be interested for a minute, and then she would be like, okay, shut up already. But we were watching the original, or the episode 7, and as soon as I saw Rey fighting Ren in the forest on I'm calling that Ilum. I will not call that Starkiller Base. That's Ilum.
Thank you.
They're fighting on Ilum, and as soon as she after she's backed in the corner, oh, the Force, I forgot about the Force, and then she's like superfied, right? She does a move that Palpatine did in the prequels. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, babe, that's Palpatine's granddaughter, daughter, clone, something. That's something Palpatine.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Did she grab the saber and go, oh?
No, she did.
Flip over the chair backwards?
No. She when she's hunting down Rey or Ren, and she like slashes him or whatever, and she's like walking towards him, she pokes him with her saber, right? Or goes to poke him. No, it's just a single arm. It's just a one arm out poke, but Palpatine did that, I believe. I want to say it was to Yoda or to Mace, or I'll find the scene. I'll make.
He definitely did it to Mace, the poke.
But like she's walking towards him, and she just like pokes forward. I was like, oh, that's a Palps move. That's not a Kenobi move. Because at first I was like, I watched it a couple times. I was like, man, she's real Kenobi. She's real Kenobi. And then I saw that scene, and I was like, that's Palps. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, she's daughter, she's clone, something.
Well,
I don't know.
you knew it before the people who were writing the movies did that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if the original idea with the choreography was to include all different styles of like Ben and Palpatine and all these other random, because I did see some of, like, you see a lot of different forms there because there's no training. It's just raw. So there's a little bit of 3, there's a little bit, like, there's just stuff going on everywhere. Right. And she goes from being hyper defensive to hyper aggressive. So it's really interesting because I thought they were going down the Palps road, and then they put out Last Jedi, and I'm like, what the shit? Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. And then they came out at the end, and it's just one move in that scene changed my perspective on, oh, okay, that's not a Kenobi.
You're getting some hate in the chat, right?
That's fine. I get hate.
He already said he shed ego, and he's like,
yeah,
I know what I like.
Make fun of me all you want. I've been getting it for 40 years. I ain't worried about that. So
I'm in the same camp. I'm just like, yeah, I've given up
If I
Years ago, I gave up caring what people think about me, and it rubs people the wrong way a lot.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, I wouldn't be sitting here in this forum with my face on YouTube if I was worried about the shade I'd get on YouTube.
Yeah,
So,
For sure.
you have
I'm
to
not
know
worried
it's loving shade though when it comes
Oh,
from
I don't care. It doesn't
the
bother
Hanger
me.
Bay community.
But at the same time, I mean, you have to see those little things, right? That's what I'm always looking for. I'm watching all of this shit over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm looking for little pieces of the puzzle, right? And the biggest, like, what I think is coming, I think the Mandalorian War is going to be the biggest thing coming. I think that's what they're building to. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see maybe some Jedi come out of the woodwork to help there. But
I'm cool with that, 100%.
you know, that they're giving you guys what you want, right? If at the end of it, it connects and they've given you 5 years of amazing content, are you really going to be that mad at them after 5 years of amazing content
Yes.
that they connected it at the end?
Yeah.
and
I
made
will
you-
be. I will be because of what happened in the twilight years of the people that we loved from the original trilogy. I will always be mad about what happened there.
True, but can you really hold a grudge that long? If they're
Oh,
giving
yeah,
if they're giving
100%.
if they're
Easily.
giving you amazing content,
Yeah, I will. I
me, it's-
absolutely never forget what happened.
For me, it's less.
that's a long time to hold a grudge. That's a lot of hate in there.
Dude,
A
think
lot of-
about
a
it.
lot of anger.
Han Solo dies, and Luke is like, "We'll start
Han Solo-
training in the morning."
Han Solo dies, but at the hands of his son. Okay,
Yeah,
everybody's.
and Luke's just like, "Oh, who are you? You're Rey. All right, we'll start training in the morning, I guess." Where's
I'm-
Han? He's dead. Well, here's the Force. Look at my leaf. Is that the Force? Do you feel it?
Now, that's not
Like-
really fair.
Get the f out of here!
You're pulling things out of context a little bit. Luke told
Am I?
her to go piss up a rope when she got there. He's like, "Get out of here! I want nothing to do with you. I want nothing to do with you."
How did Luke react to Han Solo being killed by Ben?
He walked into the ship and found Han's most prized possession.
Hmm.
Had a moment in the cockpit where he met the man and proceeded to save his wife and the thing he cared a lot about by giving his own life.
He wasn't even there.
His spirit was there. He was spirit. I mean, whether he's physically there or it's force ghost,
What was that whole thing
projection?
with Han? Like in 9. Like that was the first time we saw a non-force user
I don't
show
think
up
that was a real Force
post-mortem.
ghost. I think that was more of a thing going on in Ren's head, almost like a Vader coming out of or Vader being defeated and Anakin re-rising. I feel like that was more of an internal thing than being a Force ghost.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I've only seen episode 9 once. Doesn't Han physically interact with Kylo?
Oh, he like puts his hand on his face.
I don't
Yeah.
know if he reacts in a way, but so I have a question. Another, I guess at this point we're talking about gripes. So a weird. There's a lot that I think is just weird and doesn't work for me. And for me, when you asked the question about grudge, it's less of a grudge. I have this this opinion where it's like, if I'm reading a book and I don't like it, I don't care what it is, I just stop. If I'm watching a movie and I don't like it, I just like I don't feel any obligation to be like, oh well, I hate this, so I'm gonna make stuff about it, or it's like I have to give this a try. If it starts losing me, and there's certain metrics I have where once it hits a threshold, I'm done. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was The Force Awakens. What's the one where Leia hugs Rey and ignores Chewie?
Oh, that's
that was.
Force?
I think
Which-
it was right. I don't remember actually.
Whatever.
I think
so
it was Last Jedi actually.
whatever one that was in particular, and that's one. I mean, there's so many things, but that scene didn't make sense. And I feel like people who have explained it in videos and in person to me, I'm glad that they found a way to connect it. But in my head, at the end of the day, it almost feels like a rhetorical question where I'm like, I don't see that connection.
Yeah.
And people have said, well, Chewie was preoccupied and she maybe through the Force or just knew like how devastated Rey was and wanted to connect. But to me, it's like I can't fathom in my mind that kind of a connection, and it just didn't make sense. And
well,
so
to
when
be
we're
fair, remember he also didn't get a Yavin medal.
Yeah, Chewie
in
got
the book, he
Chewie got-
does.
In the book, he does.
In the book, he does. But yeah, I mean,
I
in the
haven't
movie,
read it yet. Sorry,
Chewie
I haven't done my
Chewie
homework.
didn't get as much love as he should have gotten. Right? Like Chewie factually didn't get the love he deserved.
And for me, I like not to break everything down, but I feel that with the characters, so here's the thing. If they kind of just left the main characters almost as they were, like if there wasn't real progress, they're there and they're helping move the story forward, and they really focused on new characters and new direction, all this, it would have been a lot different for me. For me, the issue was I felt like what they did is they had to deconstruct the main characters so that they could give more weight to these new characters. And for me, like when I'm talking about reading a book, that's the point where I'm like, this isn't for me. If it's for someone else, awesome. This is the one? Let's see if he physically... Because I just don't understand this.
Jesus, come on, man.
The only character I liked.
That blonde woman?
No.
Yeah, he's straight up there.
I miss you, son.
It's cold.
Now. Kylo Ren is dead. My son is alive.
You're just a memory.
Your memory. Come home.
So he's not a Force ghost.
No, he's got no blue hue.
She's gone.
Your mother's gone. But what she stood for, what she fought for, that's not gone. Ben,
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
See that? I'm sorry. That's poetry. You can get mad. That's poetry. I think he doesn't react, but he is touching him.
Okay, so my question would be this then with that scene. With him, okay, so if we're going down the route of with what was said in context, with him being, we're getting a glimpse into Kylo's memory.
Right.
It's not a manifested memory, but it's like for a moment we have a third-person view of what's going on inside of his head. But that would mean that reconciliation never really happened. It's Kylo dealing with the trauma of killing his father in a way of trying to tell his father it's okay. Because if that's not really Han, it's Kylo trying to justify what he did.
You got to think about Kylo like Vader, literally, like almost like Vader, except that Kylo was a little bratty. But I mean, the way that I interpret that is that Ben, like Anakin, was suppressed by Kylo Ren, right? And that moment is Ben coming out of the fog and dealing with the fact that technically he did kill his dad. His, you know what I mean? So like,
Not technically. He straight up skewered him.
but
I get what you're saying, though.
I mean,
I know. Yeah.
Ren versus Ben. right? And so I feel like just like Vader or Anakin was fighting all that time to come out of Vader, right? To suppress and kill Vader as a personality in his head, so to speak, right? As the alternate to his regular personality. I feel that's the same journey that we see Ben go through. Ben's coming out of the fog of being Ren, of letting his.
I think we only got Ren for like the first basically 15 minutes of that trilogy, though. When he shows up and he walks off and he's like, "Look how old you've become," and he just wrecks Lord Santeca, you're like, "Damn, this guy's bad." And then 15 minutes later, he's like, "I'm in love with this girl. I don't know who she is, but I'm in love with her."
Look at what happened on the Salt Planet, right? Like he came out great. He was a monster, right? Like he's like, "More, kill them all. I want them all dead," right? And then he gets out and he's like literally trying to go full bore with a force projection, but you know what I mean? I'm like he's trying to get at him. And I kind of feel like that's, you know, that was Ren, you know, and then later we see Ben on that, you know, Death Star wreckage, having that reconcile moment with himself, right? Like, oh, I know you're a memory, you know, yeah, but I'm your memory. I'm not Kylo Ren's memory. And that I feel like that's what that moment was to me.
I have kind of a
I wanted to bring this comment up though from Nerd Boreal. Okay. Didn't Luke also fall down into the abyss
No, he became Yoda. He did what Yoda did. He literally became one with the Force, and his cloak dropped, and off into the wind it went.
No, I'm talking about in Empire.
But I think his point is he didn't die.
Right.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, apparently neither did Han because he came back somehow.
So did Kylo know? This is a thing that's always kind of not interested, confused me, I suppose. But so Kylo is obviously very obsessed with Vader because he actually has the like crushed, destroyed helmet.
It's the what do you call that? Like the funeral pile. Funeral pyre helmet. Yeah.
And it gives off, and like what I kind of took from the First Order is this very cultish vibe, where it's like, okay, we're only giving you the info we want you to know. Yeah. And I'm like, at first I was like, okay, well that makes some sense with Kylo, but then as the movies go on, it's like, how would he not know about the end of Vader's life being with Luke, and like how would you not know about the redemption? And it to me it would be like this. It would be like if you were like, there's not a good equivalence in history, but if there was some dictator that has committed mass genocide and forced extinction of people, and at the end of his life turns and all of this, and you're like, I don't like when he turns at the end, I'm going to choose this. And by the way, it's like a family member, right? To me, it just feels really. I don't feel like they ever answered that piece, and maybe they planned to, but like, I feel like it was just like he focused on Vader, and they kind of like, in Kylo's story, they kind of like hopped over Anakin.
All history is told by victors. Right? Throughout human history, the victors tell the story, and that's what is written in history.
Yes, didn't the rebels win?
Yes, Luke would have probably told him about his father and about the rise and fall of Vader, and told him in the last moments, and maybe even Ben might have even seen Anakin Skywalker at some point as a Force ghost at the New Temple. We don't know. But I think that once Ben saw what he interpreted as Luke trying to kill him in his sleep, I think that he went and sought after the last person that held that much hatred towards Luke, or that much, hatred towards the Jedi, so to speak. and that would be Vader, right? So it's his grandfather. He was powerful. It's, he almost looks at it as his birthright to be as powerful as Darth Vader, because in his opinion, Darth Vader was more powerful than Anakin Skywalker, maybe. Right? Maybe in Ben Solo's perspective.
I'm having a tough time digesting this, man. Like I get where you're coming from. It's sometimes there are truths in Star Wars. Everybody feels it. It's just the way it is. And then when we talk about this stuff, like, I just have a really hard time digesting it.
Why else would he hunt for that artifact? Right? He's trying to be bad. He's like the good guy trying to be the bad guy, or the bad guy trying to be the good guy. Right? Like he's fighting the whole time. And so Snoke says, well, I killed Han Solo. Well, yeah, the act has shattered you because it literally brought Ben to the forefront, right? Killing Han Solo weakened Kylo Ren, right? And made Ben Solo stronger. And so I think that's why you see more of that conflict with Rey, because he's fighting the way that Anakin tried to fight Vader, but Vader was too powerful.
So, not to just keep changing gears, a lot of what you're saying is like, I don't watch it's probably very clear, I don't watch the sequels very much.
And I watch them. They're on. I watch them. I don't turn it off because it's not the Star Wars. I'm not the way that I wanted it to be written. If it's on TV, I'm putting it on because I'm about to see a TIE fighter be dope, or I'm about to see the Millennium Falcon like wreck some stuff. So like I'm in it, right? And watch Chewie shooting some people. Like I'm all about.
I hear you there, and I love it for that.
I like it for the visuals, and I'm not trying to like belittle what people think. I'm
just trying to give you guys a different vantage point, really. Like I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate what you guys are saying about.
Well, we appreciate you giving the other point, because it's no fun if all three people are like, "Yeah, that was dumb."
Well, and
let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys this:
to be argumentative or to be on the other side of the coin, like this stuff, I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, you're being genuine.
These things, could be an answer to these questions. I'm not necessarily saying the way they should do it or whatever. I'm just, in my universe where my headspace lives, I would like these things to be the way that they were written, because it gives me it gives me more hope that there was actually some thought into some of the things that they did. Obviously not the whole story, but some of the things they gave us. I want to feel hope. Right.
My best friend, he's on a vacation right now. But every Friday, the missus and I and his missus and him and their kid and our kid, we all get together and hang out and watch like 80s movies and have food and all this. Right. And, he's one of the people where we agree on 90% of things. Like we're like cut from the same cloth, and he said something about like, he's like, oh no, we started talking about sequels, and normally we don't talk about Star Wars just because we get a little too sweaty. But he said no Star Wars can be bad Star Wars, right? And that's where you and I and my best friend and I, we sit in a little different camps, because for me, I think there can be bad Star Wars, but with that, this is, and maybe it doesn't even need to be said, but just in the conversation, a thing that I felt with the sequels is that there was so much that happened situationally that had to happen for the sequels to make sense. Like you have it's like the lady general, not Leia, this person who chose to disband the army because she wanted peace, right? She disbanded the entire military. I can't think of her name. She had like
not
pink.
Oh, you're talking about
pink hair. If I remember right, she chose
Admiral. She became the Admiral.
Yeah, but she wanted, because of knowing history and where everything came from, she wanted complete, Holdo, right?
Holdo.
Okay, so she wanted peace, and she thought the best way was the absence of conflict. So she chose to disband the military, and that situational truth, if you will, made place to the First Order being able to rise. But then there's little pieces where then it's like, okay, well, Luke didn't want to be found, but secretly he did because he left like this missing piece of the puzzle to find him. And then at the same time, there was secretly this whole on Exegol, there's this whole like fleet being built under the nose of people, and the bad guy we thought was going to be a bad guy was actually Palpatine, and Palpatine never really died. And so for me, it didn't feel like a continuation. I felt like it was like but wait, there's more. Like, just hold up. Everything you thought went down a certain way at the end of episode 6 shifted and changed, and it wasn't what you expected. Where to me, 1 through 6, because of George doing 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, in particular, to support the original trilogy, and Dave with Clone Wars to support the prequels, and so on and so forth. For me, I get what you're saying about all the connective tissue, and that's Dave's heart, and The Apprentice of George, all that. I felt like my problem with the sequels is I feel like it didn't fit that. I felt like there were some director wars, there was some business stuff that didn't make sense, so I feel like it's just a little too separate for me. Mm-hmm. And so there's pieces I like, but in the I guess
grand
whole
scheme
aspect, of things. Yeah, I was trying to be a little more articulate, but yes, you know, when I look at everything, I was like, I got a good word cooking and like nothing. But when I look at everything as a whole, it just doesn't connect with me.
Right. Well, there's a lot of you out there, like Matt. The Matt Cave just put up that chat, passing objects through the Force in the sequels. I mean, they weren't really passing objects as much as they were holograms, right? Or Force projections, right? So like the dice is probably what he's talking about.
No, he's talking about actually dropping a lightsaber into somebody's hand.
Or the beads, right? When Rey was on the planet, and that planet with all the color and the parties, and that's one where you think Chewie dies, but he doesn't. Like they kind of drop that, but Kylo reaches out and grabs something, and then
I'm more thinking like when Rey like puts the hand behind her back and drops the saber, and then Ben has it and kills the Knights of Ren.
So are you guys? I mean, aside from the obvious dislike for the sequels, which is great. If everything they're doing now isn't to your satisfaction, are you going to have the same attitude towards this stuff? Kenobi aside, because I think that one holds its own light of cards. But let's say Andor's not what you thought it was going to be. Right. Let's say it's one of these stories that you guys want different stories, and it sucks.
I think I'm not going to hold as much hate for it because, you know, that is a standalone story. And so if it stinks, bummer. And, you know, kind of the same thing. And even though it's a little closer to home, even Bad Batch, which I don't hate, by the way. I don't hate it at all. I'm enjoying watching it. I don't think it's quite worth my time to stay up until midnight on Thursdays and do live streams and watch it. You know,
I do the next morning, dude.
Yeah, but people want to hang out with X-Wing, so I'll keep doing it. But you know, that's the difference for me between new stories like this and then when you're closing a story, a universe, that this timeline that somebody has created and over 40, 45 years people have loved and adored, and then you mistreat it. It feels a lot more like a bad breakup to me than it does, watching a show that's in the Star Wars universe and being like, that was okay. I'm like, that was good.
Yeah, I just can't throw. Regardless of who makes it, the stories weren't. People were unhappy because Force Awakens was a new Hope remade, right? That was everybody.
I like Force Awakens.
That's everybody's trash on Force Awakens. It's just a New Hope, right? You have Ray is the new Luke, right? Born in the desert, same old, right?
Death Star,
Death Star, whole
blah,
fuck,
blah,
whole,
blah. Yeah.
whole fun and games. And then the Last Jedi comes out, and you know everybody feels like Luke wasn't done right. I thought it was kind of entertaining. I want to go back to your map thing,
Mhm.
right? Now, R2 sitting in the corner for what, all these years? Again, it's hard.
He turned himself off, right, out of kind of like a depression, so to speak, because of what happened.
I think he was programmed. I think Luke told him to do. I want to believe, and this is another part that, again, I'll probably catch some shade for, but I thought from Jump Street, when I saw R2 in the corner and 3PO was like, R2 was so sad that Master Luke left that he has not activated him, so he's powered down or whatever, right?
Like Padme dying of sadness.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of how they made it sound. For me, I always felt like Luke gave 2 pieces of a map away as he's taking off. The first piece we know that ends up in BB-8 from, I don't remember his name. But and here's another thing. Everybody's like, oh, how did Kylo Ren stop that blaster bolt? We've never seen a power like that. And then Cal Kestis has it. And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's cool. That force slowdown stuff's no big deal, right? So
Isn't Vader like,
just blocks
stops
them.
him.
That's
you're talking about when it
the
first
armor in his
stopped, and it's
glove.
like,
yeah,
It's like
totally different deal.
right.
yeah, I see.
But you know,
Yeah, force slow is totally a thing.
right. And so
I didn't have a problem with that.
me neither. I thought that was dope.
Yeah, it was sick. And then when he lets it go and it,
Yeah, like he's literally flying away, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, I got to let that blaster bolt go." Right?
damn, my bad, bro.
My bad. But for me, R2, I feel like Luke gave 2 pieces of a map away, right? Whether it was to Leia with the first one, or whether it was to dude, I don't remember his name.
Lord Santeca.
There you go. But I feel like he gave the other piece to R2 and basically told him, you are not to give this up until she needs me, like really needs me. So I feel like R2's video and audio features were turned on and listening in the background for a key point to where Leia emphatically needs him. Like, it's not just a war. It's not just to bring back the Jedi. It's like, I need you, brother. Right. And you've turned yourself off from the Force, so I can't try to reach out to you. And so I feel like R2 he knew that R2 would end up with Leia, and leaves R2 with Leia. And then as soon as the other piece of the map is found, R2's like, oh, this is my time to shine, baby. And that's when he wakes up. So like, I feel like that was a designated plan the entire time for him. Like, look, I got to go. Here's the rest of the map. If they really, really need me, little man, come get me. And when the other piece of the map surfaces, that means they're really looking for me and they really need me.
I get it, but then they show up and they're like, "We need you," and he's like, "Nah."
Yeah, how many years was he alone on that island with the weird fish people, drinking weird titty milk and fishing from a spear?
But then they find him. Like, he was found. That was the point, right? If he left the maps, he got found, and he's like, "Nah."
I feel like you guys watch The Office at all? This helps me. Have you seen it?
No.
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
A little bit.
Fulcrum would get this, but I'm not going to go down that road anyway. Okay, so basically, what I feel like with what you're explaining, like in the sequel treatment, I feel like for me it just takes it too far. Like in terms of like, I feel like maybe, and I don't know because we won't see it, but maybe if it was dialed back quite a bit, it makes sense for me. It feels like if it's like, hey, this happened that was really extreme, and then I don't want to be found, but I just in case, and then when they come, I'm gonna react this way. Throw the X-wings in the water. I'm gonna throw the lightsaber
What?
over. All that stuff. I feel like, to me, it's like too far. Like you took it just a little too far. And for me, even cycling back to your question about like Andor, because I know in particular a lot of it has been about subverted expectations, if you will, you know, and it connected with some, it didn't connect with others. For me with Andor, honestly, I don't really care if it doesn't meet my expectations because I don't really have any. Kenobi holds more weight for me. Book of Boba does, and like I feel like and granted it's Favreau, right? Or is it Filoni and Favreau for Boba? Same
Both.
Mandalorian team. So if they went some crazy direction and like made Boba this like drunkard who like got a wife and like beats her and got her pregnant, and then he has to pay alimony, and that's why he's really doing all these bounties and all of this.
I need
like,
credits.
I'd be like, why would you do that to him? And to me, and maybe that's a little extreme, but to me, that's how the sequels felt. I just felt like, why did you have to do that to my people? It just didn't connect with me.
Yeah.
But I am glad it connects with you, even to some degree, whether it's small in some aspects or larger.
It's not all puppy dogs and ice cream. Believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. I am not happy with the way that the franchise directed this. I'm not happy with the executives in charge of story and production and what they allowed to happen to these iconic characters. I'm not happy about it. I don't enjoy that portion of it. But at the end of the day, Star Wars is the stuff that makes me smile.
Yeah.
And even though it is not the Star Wars I wanted, even though it is not the Luke Skywalker I would have thought after Episode 4, even though Rey is, you know, a very odd character to base an entire franchise around. And yeah, there were a lot of missteps, but at the same time, this is also it's possible to glue the vase back together. Right? It's possible to put it back together and to make it at least what it once was. And
I know what you're talking about. There's the Japanese art where when the dish is broken, they put it back together with gold, right?
gold.
But
Yeah.
for me, there's an actual term for
I
it.
don't know what it is either.
But for me, I would still say, but I still see the brokenness. The
That's okay,
connective is good, but
that's
to me,
okay.
it's still broken, and I don't like the broken pieces.
To me, it's like, well, the plate was beautiful before, and then you mended it with gold.
And
The
then
plate
you
was
hired a
not
maid
beautiful.
to shatter it.
The
Right,
plate was
they
not
hired-
beautiful to
they
me
hired
before you
somebody-
gilded it with gold, and we well know that if you gild a turd, it's still a turd, just gilded.
Again, I am not. So Justin, I've been watching a lot of Justin is Lost lately.
I love that guy.
He's been putting out some fire, and I'm interested to see if a lot of the stuff he's scooping is happening. And so I'm going to transition away because we've been on this for an hour. So I'm going to
Oh
transition.
my
away.
God, seriously?
Almost 2
I
hours.
just looked at the timer.
Yeah, we've
Almost
been on
2
this
hours.
subject for an hour. So
Here's a guitar pick I have.
I'm going to transition this
Nice.
for you guys, and I am going to discuss something that that is a little different than the sequels. So
So toxic. He's so toxic. He's
Oh
the
my God,
worst
he's
YouTuber.
so toxic.
He's so
bro.
bad.
Him and ABJ are like, oh my
Just
God,
the worst.
the worst two YouTubers. You should see their Twitters. So I've been watching a lot of Justin, and I hope some of this stuff is true. I'd owe X-Wing some money if one of his videos comes true. I got a crisp $100 bill that's getting framed right now for X-Wing and for Jay to go on my wall.
I'll be right back.
But I hope Justin is wrong with his Gina Carano stuff, because then I lose to X-Wing, and I don't like losing bets.
Well, the bet was that she was coming back, and you said no, right?
I said no, and he's saying yes.
Did you see the tweet she put out today?
I did not. I have
Was
been
that
on
today or day before yesterday? It was Catwoman, and it said it's a little late for begging.
Oh yeah, exactly. I did see that one actually because I saw that one the day it came out after work, and I was like, yeah, exactly.
Hey,
like
sorry to interrupt you. Happy birthday, mother effer! Happy mother effing birthday, mother effer!
Whose birthday?
He just turned 32.
Who?
He just turned 32.
Oh,
Daryl the Derelict. We both just turned 30 together.
Yeah, 30. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the tweet. Yeah, I don't think she's coming back. I don't think so. I especially after that tweet, like that. I think at this point it's a principle thing for her. I don't think it's a money thing. I don't think it's a what can I get another role in for Disney. I think she's just like, okay, you guys did me real raw.
Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't sugarcoat it. Like it's almost like getting fired on your day off, Craig, for stealing boxes, right? Like that's the kind.
And she's making money somewhere else too,
dude. She doesn't.
And when you're dating a guy like Drunk 3PO, he's not going to convince you to go back to Disney.
Well, and that's, I guess that's kind of my point. She has accomplished more in life than just Star Wars. She played a role in Star Wars because the producer loved what she did in some of her previous roles and really wanted, I would respect it if she said no. Wait, go back to that one. Go back. I'd respect it if he said no, but if she says yes, it would be the ultimate middle finger. Dude, totally agree. But I think they would have to sweeten the honey pot so much. Like, you can't be fired. If you choose to leave, you can leave, but like, we cannot fire you. This is an absorbent amount of money. Like, you're going to get the proper billing on, the episode. So you're going to get a with instead of just a name there, like all these little extra perks that come with that, but I don't
feel like for me, it's just, it is such a middle finger to the detractors. All the people that said she was a horrible person and Disney doesn't stand for this and she's so awful. And then they're begging her at the knee to come back. And then she comes back to Star Wars. And all of us who are fans are like, I
really don't think that you can treat a person the way Disney treated her. I mean, to the point where, Emmy aside, right? Like, I'm real pissed off about her getting taken off of the Emmy submission. Yeah. I think that's a big reason. Another cherry on top as to why she won't come back, because that's kind of an FU. At least let the woman get her nomination. Yeah. If she doesn't win, she doesn't win. But let the woman get her nomination, right?
Well, I mean, we're partial too because she's a Nevada girl.
Yeah, I'm even more partial because she's an amazing woman outside of this. Yeah. MMA pioneer in women's MMA, has fought the toughest women in the world when women fighting was a thing that nobody really thought would be a thing. And then she goes
total sweetheart.
And a total sweetheart to boot.
Love women who can bash skulls in and they're sweet.
She could beat all of our asses simultaneously, and then she would take us out for drinks. Okay. Yeah. Awesome woman, right? Talent.
Hashtag we love Gina.
Hashtag save Cara Dune is what I was on. I was on that train. But aside from that, she's going to get other roles. If you don't like her as an actress, whatever. That's your opinion. Everybody's got them. I honestly think that she doesn't go back because they did her dirty in the way they got rid of her. They did her dirty by killing, or not even killing, just basically shoving her character under the rug. The woman gets on the Emmy nominations and is announced and it's out there. And then she's not on it anymore. Right. That's just kind of another FU to her from Disney. And I don't think they get her in the door. And if she goes in, I don't think she accepts. I think she goes in out of respect for John and Dave and says, I just wanted to come tell you guys in person, like, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I want to do this, but I'm not going to do it.
I want to, but this got out of hand.
I was invited to a charity stream with some YouTubers and then one unnamed purple-haired human being who said she would not take part of the charity stream because Gina Carano was there.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
We got too politicky.
Let me put it this way. Gina Carano is welcome on my stream anytime she wants to grace us with her presence, and she can bring her friend.
Shameless plug.
Drunk 3PO anytime she wants. In fact, I think he's coming to Vegas. So I'm actually going to outright here offer my services to Jay. I know your studio is back home. I got a mobile studio. If you want to do some streaming while you're in Vegas, let's do it.
Oh, geez.
Bring it. So bring Gina with you. Shameless plug. But yeah, I mean, it's, I don't think she walks through the door. I am excited about something else to shift gears. I don't know if you guys saw Katie Sackhoff took her COVID tests, getting back on the set of Star Wars.
I did see that.
Bo-Katan is getting back in her armor.
Darth Daddio is sitting over there like, I don't look at the news.
I don't. I will say
I don't
today,
watch the TV.
I don't get on the Twitter.
I have insulated myself from the rest of the world pretty much. But I will say today, I don't know, I stepped away for a few minutes, but I saw, I started seeing the videos coming out about the tweet. And was it the Catwoman tweet about like it's time's over for begging or something like that?
Time for begging has passed.
Where I was like, oh, okay, that's
the Catwoman one.
That's not like explicit, but
I thought it was pretty genius using a DC character to throw a little shade at Star Wars. I thought that was pretty well, especially because it wasn't Marvel either. It was like DC, nothing to do with Disney. Here's a little shade for you on Twitter. I think that was a very calculated tweet.
Interesting, though, to think where in Canada would they be shooting something for?
They're actually going on location?
Mando or
I'm surprised that
they left
Canada,
the sound.
like Canada's. I feel bad for people who live in Canada right now.
I was thinking, like, I mean, if they were gonna do the Mando War, or like they were gonna go back to Mandalore, wouldn't they want to go to like Tunisia or something to make it look like Mandalore?
But
or even Utah, like the Salt Flats.
Couldn't they come here and go to like Death Valley?
Yeah. They ain't putting, they're not putting characters
in suits on in Death Valley. Hell no, they ain't putting suits on in Death Valley.
What's the name of the thing that they built for Mandalorian?
The volume.
Sound.
The volume.
Sound?
Sound. The they call it the sound or the volume, yeah.
So, not that I think there's, I am very much a purist in terms of like shooting on film, not digital, like 70 millimeter, like keeping back to the roots of film on location. Minimal processing, stuff like that. But there's things, especially in Star Wars, that you can't get away from that. But it's like, wasn't the whole point of that, though, to keep costs down, to quickly produce things?
There are certain things they can't do on the lot in that.
Okay. Yeah, like the scene for Rodriguez's episode when Ming-Na Wen was like running around and jumping off the rocks and stuff. You can't do that in the sound.
They went to Santa Clarita to shoot that. The Boba Fett introduction shots were shot in Clarita, I believe. And yeah, there's certain stuff you can't do in there. You can do the ship stuff, you can do, a bunch of stuff, but you can't just there's certain battles that are just too epic that they actually have to go shoot. And if they're shooting anything for Mando 3, it's going to be some kind of war. It's going to be some kind of big battle. And they have Moff Gideon. They're coming back.
Canada. What? Pine Forest, bunch of good maple syrup, some sweet. You know what? It was Salonic.
Maple syrup.
That's why they went up there. It was Salonic.
They're going up for the Tim Hortons, eh? They want some delicious donuts.
Yeah.
I think I'm excited. I actually have started writing. Actually, 2 Star Wars nerds and the Mrs. Star Wars nerds has me a little motivated to bank some. To bank some videos. So I think I'm going to spend, I took some notes and wrote some stuff down the other night while I was watching The Bad Batch. And there's a couple things Vader related that I want to get. Oh, that's what it was. Cool. Vader related that I want to get into. I want to go along a premise of Vader went out recruiting Jedi right after the fall. So as soon as he gets comfortable in his suit and gets his saber and starts building his Inquisitori, obviously the Grand Inquisitor was his first recruit because he wanted the same thing. He wanted to get in the archives and know the stuff they wouldn't teach them. So he automatically had the Grand Inquisitor locked and loaded. But I would like to see or talk about Vader picking up some of these fallen Jedi, right? Ben Valen. There's like 3 of them. Trilla. There's several of the Inquisitors that were fallen Jedi or Padawans.
It would be cool to see the Trilla thing because both of those actresses are alive and good health. Be a cool story.
So where are they going? Seeing the Inquisitorius, but there I came up with like 5 or 6, and I started doing, because I'm excited about Katie. I think we need to talk more about Bo-Katan over the next several months.
Dude, she's gonna be huge.
I think that she's getting dwarfed by Boba.
And no,
and just no. I think she's getting dwarfed by Boba. Really, I think that is a huge thing, that she came out and everybody was like, Boba, Bo-Katan, yeah, and then Boba showed up and everybody's like, Bo-Katan, who?
Yeah,
and then the bar scene happens and he's like, whatever, princess.
Well, I mean, Boba's getting his own show, obviously, but I think Bo-Katan is going to be a huge part of Mando.
Are you guys in the camp of unification through Din Djarin and Bo-Katan uniting as potential king and queen of Mandalore? Or are you?
I'm gonna let you lead off on that one. There.
I think no, because Bo-Katan, while she seems cool, she's out for herself, and she was a villain in Clone Wars. Like, she did some heinous things. Like, what was it with the village? Like, slaughtered a bunch of people.
Yeah, Mandalorian.
Like, I don't see her letting someone. I don't see her letting someone become Mandalore.
All right, here's an outright. We should start doing polls and shit too. Who do you think wins in that battle? Put the Darksaber aside, right? Like, literally put it on the table. Victor gets the saber. They go Beskar to Beskar, blaster to blaster. Who wins?
Oh, Bo-Katan, dude, he beats Mando all day.
I think Bo-Katan, only because she would play dirty. And she would bring a bunch of people in and completely overwhelm.
Well, you can't do that if you're fighting.
I think that's what she would.
One on one, straight up, 1-to-1.
They won't respect it. It's the same thing that happened with Sabine and Favreau's character.
Spartan rules.
But I don't.
Who wins?
I understand with Mandalore, but I think she would be so afraid. I think she would. I'm not saying she would become Mandalore because of that. I'm saying she would be so afraid of losing that she would do anything to not lose.
You think she would risk exile? Because that's what it would be. It would be exile.
If she thought it would save her people, I think so.
If you're fighting the Mandalorian challenge, no one can interfere. It's one-on-one. It's one-on-one until somebody gives up or is bested.
I think Bo-Katan's story will inevitably end in tragedy, where Din is like the reluctant hero. So that's kind of how I see them. I would love to see a redemption for Bo-Katan, like, okay, she got it, all this. But I don't know. In my head, whenever I play it out, and granted, I'm not Filoni and all this, but whenever I play it out, I just see tragedy. And I think we're going to see more and more in Star Wars of just like endings where you're like, wow, that sucked for that character.
Okay, let me rebuke that, and I'll tell you why. You can't introduce Thrawn when you have this few of characters and have them not match up to go fight Thrawn.
Yeah, I think the excuse me. I think the battle if I'll go on your premise, right? I'll stick to your premise of Bo-Katan's a dirty dog. And she's gonna get that Darksaber by hook or by crook, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I go along your premise, she waits until the Mandalorian to the war for Mandalore is said and done, and there's only a couple people remaining, and maybe he's fighting with the Darksaber, and they're like, okay, we just finished, and he turns around and she guts him from behind. That's the only way I see that going down.
How are you going to kill Mando, though? That's your guy.
He shouldn't have to kill him. She's just got to
What if
beat
they
him.
fall in love and he takes off his helmet?
No. Oh, my God. If they make this a Disney princess story, I'm throwing my TV at the wall, and it's a very heavy TV.
And then they have kids.
They have little
And
Din Djarin kids. So
Those
this is the way.
kids.
One of them turns out to be a Gungan. Din's like,
Where have you been?
you
Let's
said
not
my
get off
daddy.
but yeah, I mean, I could see them teaming up for a while, but if I go down your premise, I think that they're celebrating victory and she like poisons him or she guts him from behind or something and doesn't kill him because he didn't kill the Moff and he still won. But I think she takes it from him while he's laying there in a puddle.
Yeah, I think she winds up becoming the villain, but not until we have a major conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I could see that because then Din, I don't see Din wanting that, so I could see he's just like, kind of like, okay, I didn't want to be Mandalore anyways.
Yeah, but he's
And,
still
like,
lose.
just
He's not
leaves.
going to intentionally lose though. Like he's
Yeah,
going to
for sure.
fight. And
Yeah.
if they end up squaring up, I just think she's fought better fighters. Like he's great. He's a great gunslinger. He's a great bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But he literally has fought some of the best Mandalorian, and she
Yeah.
knows the weak points of the armor. Like she understands the
Veteran
armor.
of the Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's a boss.
So let me ask you a question. You brought up the unification. So do you think that there could be some like through Din, like maybe it's not really about Din, maybe he's a minor character where you see just all Mandalorians, Death Watch, Children of the Watch, all of this stuff, the extremists, the regs, so to speak, the military, everybody. Do you think you could see through Din this piece connected to what's seen as a cult?
Yeah.
Do you think everybody could come back together? And it's kind of like Din has 3 seasons and he kind of fades into the history of Star Wars and they move on.
I think he is the, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I think he is the William Wallace, if you will, if you're a Braveheart fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the William Wallace of the Mandalorian world. I think he will unite the factions. I think that's where Din Djarin's legacy is going to be stamped out in the Mandalorian history. I think,
and he kind of already did too with the covert and everything.
Exactly.
I mean, he brought them together. Yeah, some foreshadowing there.
Wouldn't that take like 7 seasons or something? Like that would take I feel like that would take a lot of
Let's
time.
go.
give it to me. Take my money.
Like if they do that, just don't. I'm just like, please don't rush it. Take your time, like, because that's complicated. That's really complicated.
But at the same time, how awesome would it be to watch Din Djarin after being with Bo and realizing that the war between Death Watch and the OG Mandalorians is a feudal war. It's the gang war that you're fighting over turf you all want to be a part of. So I think maybe after spending time with Bo and the real Mandalorians, the not extremist Mandalorians, I think Din might find the armorer and the covert. And when she asks if he's removed his helmet, he tells her, no, this is the way. We're uniting the factions. Join us and put out the call to all the coverts across the universe. It's time for Mandalorians to come home and to claim our rightful land. I think at that point, Omega takes off the armor helmet and says, "Let's go, mate."
You did not just do that. Oh my God, you ruined it forever.
That was just for you, bro. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. You were so
rolled out like
troll.
the best theory I'd heard, and then just fucking blew it.
No, I don't want that at the end. But I do think at the end, it would be awesome for the armorer to say, to challenge him and him reach back and pull the dark saber out and go, I am the leader of Mandalore. This is the way. Make the call. And she takes off her helmet and kneels in respect. And then I think he unites the clans.
Lights the beacons of Gondor and just
Basically.
Do we know? Did Operation Cinder actually take place on Mandalore? Because there's that reference to like Mandalore is
glass.
Is glass. Is that?
that
I know
was
that there's.
there was
the
a
lie.
purge.
There was the Mandalorian purge where they took over Mandalore because they wanted the Beskar. They
Yeah.
There's
realized
a theory that it's like
They made
that was
gun
a.
that-
no, but Bo-Katan was because they were talking about reclaiming Mandalore, and Boba Fett says that planet is glass.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And then she says, "Don't believe everything you read in the papers, dick." Right? That's basically the attitude she has. Like, I've been there. I've seen it. It's not glass. They lied so you people wouldn't go back because they know we're stronger together. And so they broke the Mandalore spirit and scattered them across the universe and invented a lie that Mandalore had been turned to glass and it was a useless rock, when really they're still farming Beskar on that beautiful planet.
Well, no.
I'm just saying, whatever the case is, they own Mandalore, and it's not crap. It's a planet they could absolutely go back to and reclaim their home.
Yes, yeah,
what I'm
totally.
saying.
I mean, even if you look at the Clone Wars, I mean, Mandalore is not like a pretty planet.
I'm not saying like to them it's their beautiful planet. The city of Sindari, right? That's it, Sindari?
I have a
I
question
mean,
for
they're
you,
living in,
Obsession.
Huh?
I have a question for you, Obsession.
Shoot up.
Isn't it Bo who smacks Ahsoka's butt?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Fantastic. I love it. Oh, you're gonna play a slave? Get out of here.
I'm gonna have guys. Good.
Go
Hank.
get me a beer. Right? I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious. Looking at Ahsoka's face when she does it was the best part. Like the reaction of Ahsoka was like, "What the shit?" You know, she didn't quite know.
That's how I felt. I think we all were like, okay.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was so Bo-Katan, right? Like, oh, I know who you are. Go get him, champ. Right? Like it was so. I don't know. It just felt awesome. Like they had this.
Filoni was like, "Well, the creeps are gonna have a field day with this one."
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I think what they're doing now is going to give us several years of good stuff, and I think that Mandalorian, the Mandalorian War is basically, I think, the Avengers End game that we're going to get coming up in by the end of the year. I think at the end of all of these shows, it's going to set us up for the next phase, which will be the war, the actual war. I think this year and part of next year maybe set us up for is setting us up for the big war that'll come probably 2024.
This guy's cheering on Cinder.
Rizman,
Good job, guys.
he's everywhere. But yeah, I'm looking, and I think we should talk more about Bo-Katan and what's coming up, because they're filming now. I mean,
Yeah.
they're in the pot, and they're at the volume, and they're already shooting the stuff that they can't shoot on that they can shoot on the volume.
I just know at the end of all this, we're getting all these shows, we're getting the universe building, and now we've seen it with Marvel. Now we're seeing it with Star Wars. There's going to be a movie at the end of this that is going to be just amazing. I'm holding out hope for that. I'm stoked for the shows. Obviously, I'm stoked for Kenobi. I'm stoked for Book of Boba Fett. I'm stoked for Ahsoka. I don't know that Accolade's going to get made. We'll see. But I am hopeful.
So it's very light at the end of the tunnel. I think we got another 6 months of Marvel, and then in December, I think is going to start the year of Star Wars, because I think Star Wars is next year. I think they're building. So it's coming. Nobody slaps my girl. I loved it. I'm sorry, man. That's just funny writing, right? Like if your boys, right, like your homies are doing something shady, and they're doing something shady, right? You're not going to give them a bro check, or like, something like that. That's totally how I looked at that Ahsoka moment with Bo. Is like, oh, you're doing something you shouldn't do, dummy. Go get him. You know, like she knows she's on her own. It just felt like a fun moment. It didn't feel sleazy or anything. I didn't feel like Dave wrote a sleazy little bit, but
Well, I'm looking forward to our golf game then.
I kind of took it as like trafficker, don't get in the van kind of moment. That's kind of how I took it.
Shoosh.
I was like, oh, all right.
All right.
Hey,
Well-
I have a question for Spyro in the chat. Do you legitimately like Spyro? Just curious. I love Spyro games.
the Flying Dragon Spyro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Those were hard as a kid.
What do we got? We got
Yeah. Fun.
we have 5 minutes left, so why
How
don't
did
we
your-
just open the forum?
How did your squadrons match go the other night?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, Alderaa's Angels on record are 3-0,
Wow.
so that was fun. And then we got the whole community in and just started literally banging the homies with lasers.
Banging the homies.
We did a match where it was only X-wing versus TIE fighters, and we lowered the shields for
The
the
X-Wings.
rebellion, and then basically dropped the whole integrity down to 0. So it was more like actual Star Wars. Like if you
Like
got
one
hit by a
slot.
laser, it was game over.
Oh, how was that?
If you got hit by a Star Wars, is that what I said?
If you got hit by a
You
laser.
got hit in the face for Star Wars, baby. It's game over.
You ain't coming back from that. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. We started with like the professionals at 6:30, and then 7:30 open it up. And
I hope
It
I'm
was
not
fun.
considered in that professional group. I just come in there to give you guys some target fodder
There-
because
we have 4 people, and they're all way better than me.
yeah. Well, I could tell you factually, like when I kill X-wing in the game, I am hyper pumped. Right? Like
Yeah,
I hunt him down sometime. I'm like, nope,
I know.
nope, average, nope. Oh, there's X-wing, and I'm like, oh, I got him. And then he gets behind me, and he's like, where'd he go? And I'm like, where'd who go? And then I'm dead.
See,
That's
when
why
I played,
I love it.
I would hunt you, Obsession.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you're the only one who would like stop every now and then. I'm like, that's my chance.
That
right
has
there.
stopped. That has stopped. I do not let off the throttle anymore. The throttle
was-
is 100% down all the time now. I do not let off the throttle anymore.
The only kills I have are you, just because of those
Yeah,
rare moments.
dude,
I would just see your name. I'm like, here we go.
I suck something.
waiting
Yeah,
for my
because
opening.
eventually he's just gonna stop in the middle of the air, and then I'm just gonna shoot him.
My mistake is I would go after some people, and then they would do some stuff and get behind me, and I'm like, oh, this was a bad idea. Got to
Yeah.
get out of here, and I try and navigate, and then it shows up. I killed myself because I ran into something.
Or
Like,
or they
yeah.
just I don't know how they get behind me so fast. Because when I go to turn, I don't turn that fast.
Turn like a
Strike,
boomer.
Strike is
That's why-
doing that. Strike is doing that Cassian ant that who flies the black X-wing in my he's doing some Poe Dameron shit. I swear. He's like
Yeah.
stalling the engines, turning around, shooting me into forward, and then bouncing back. Like Strike is sick.
Yeah,
He's sick, dude.
he's dangerous. That's why I always like having him on my team.
He's so dude, I'm still trying
That's
to
why I
put
was like, Alderaa's Angels, all calls are open. First slot's already taken, but everybody else is willing to,
dude,
willing
I
to-
am still pumping this this channel versus channel match. I think this has got to
Yeah.
happen, dude. Or
I think it'd
and
be
if it's
fun.
not channel, it's got to be Discord versus Discord. I just feel like the Den of Nerds, Justin is lost. I don't know if ABJ is into gaming. Like all of you guys have followers on followers on followers. You have double what most of us have. Definitely 10 times what I have because I'm sucking hind tit here. I'm literally the back of the bus. But I think it would be so much fun to have a 5-on-5 community for pick your 5 best pilots. You guys have 25,000 subscribers. You can't find 5 great squadron pilots and all of those Star Wars followers?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. So yeah, Justin is lost. You got to get on squadrons. You got to get a squad of your own together because I'm telling you, X-Wings is nothing to trifle with. You better bring it if you're bringing it because
Alderaa's Angels, baby.
that squad is lethal. And I'm not just saying for somebody that sucks. Like other people are like, dude, Strike is gangster. Like even X-Wing, when they're on opposite teams, he's like, God damn you, Strike. So It's legit, man. I think you guys got to get on this. You got to tell your friends. I want Josh and his 5 best guys. And if the person whose channel it is doesn't want to fly, commentate with me. Because I suck that bad. I don't even want to be on a team. I'll just call the game and we'll just switch from like team to team back and forth. Like, oh, you show me your guys for a minute and just cycle through as an observer. And then just like, oh, X-Wing's about to get it. Oh, does he know he's about to get it? Oh, he got it. You know, like I think that would be so much fun for us.
Be fun. We just got to get Dart Daddy over there better at squadrons.
I will say I have retired officially from squadrons.
No.
Uh,
Tell my mother I love her.
I've gotten so much better.
I killed Obsession. I'm like, I can say I made a kill.
I hope I made my father proud. Well, boys,
right.
this has been
Yeah.
so much fun. I needed to decompress after a 15-hour day. So
Yeah, I hear that. This has been fun. We got a good runtime in today. Usually we do like an hour and a half. We got full 2 plus some.
yeah, I'm gonna go rub the missus's feet for letting me have a 15-hour day and come hang out with you hooligans.
Wow. All right. Good for
Yeah.
you. You're a better man than me.
He deserves a reward.
Anything you guys want to say before you pop out? I mean, I've left it here. Subscribe, Star Wars Obsession,
Yeah,
immediately.
stuff.
Go subscribe to the 2 Star Wars nerds immediately.
There are 2 of us.
Smash that like button.
Even though we only see this one ever.
Yeah, I know. I like how. I try not to say her name on stream. Mrs. 2 Star Wars nerds.
I mean, we
was like,
say it on our channel, so it's fine.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, Keely was like, we should start a Star Wars channel. You're like, yeah, I could do that. And then you're just on every stream everywhere.
Her thing is the videos and the stuff.
Well, she
Like,
turns like
yeah.
she gets real quiet whenever she gets on any of the groups. X-Wing will put
I
her
know.
on
I
and be like,
constantly make her get
Oh.
out of her shell. I'm like, full screen. Let's hear it.
So what's funny? She like in college and stuff, you know, because we're actually this next week it will be our 9th year anniversary for being married.
Oh,
congratulations.
We've been together since high school, so it's kind of crazy. But
yo.
in college, there, you know, whatever, it's like you have to write a 2,500 word paper or something like that, you know, and it would be like 750 words. I'm like, you've got to put more words. I'm like, everything you're saying is right. There's got to be more. But I think she's a lot like X-Wing, like very much like, boom, to the point. Here it is, concise. Where
said it.
As long as there's wind in my lungs, I'm saying things, and it's not always right. It just keeps coming.
All right. Well, before we go,
Yay!
let's get
happy
one
birthday,
more happy birthday.
Daryl!
One more happy birthday
bro.
to our good friend Daryl the Derelict. We love you, buddy. I wish you could have
Happy
hopped on.
birthday.
I know I sent it, so I tried to get him on tonight, but I sent it very last minute. So, congratulations on your 30th birthday, my friend. We love you, man. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. I'm supposed to get Jango Fett's blasters, and we're going to be making a video on chroming Jango Fett's blasters. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I just got my little boba.
It's higher than anything you've ever seen.
Nice.
my little boba to go with
It's awesome.
my Boba Fett starship back there.
I don't know, guys. What do you think?
No one wants to hear
Oh,
that.
no one wants to hear that shit.
We did
Happy
that.
birthday,
We
Daryl.
sang to your mom, and then like you watch it back, you're like, yeah, that was pretty awful. the thought was there.
Well, happy birthday. Happy 70th birthday, buddy. We're really excited.
Hope I
Like
get there.
Star Wars Stuff Show, we're really excited for your 80th birthday. We'll be there for it, man. We love you. I think that's going to do it for Boomer Council tonight. Look forward to next week when we're going to have a very special guest on, somebody that we know and love. Actually, we're going to have possibly 3 special guests on.
Wow.
Someone that's very important to our community, Echo Base Network, Coach and Nick. A lot of good stuff coming. So tune in. Don't miss it. This has been Boomer Council. Boys, you got anything to say?
No, be safe. Stay healthy.
Daddy-o?
Don't let the COVID get you.
Rock on. All right, guys. We love you. Have a good night. And remember, Star Wars!